What's happening, everybody? It's your resident supervillain, Mr. J. Washington, and I'm here with the Trusty Sidekick's official series premiere review of Cloak and Dagger. Yeah, Cloak and Dagger, that is now debuting on Freeform, the channel that used to be ABC Family, is the first Marvel show upon that network. Now, if you don't know who the story of Cloak and Dagger are, it is of Tandy Bowan and Tyrone who, when they come together, have extraordinary abilities. Tandy is able to create blades, like knives of blades of energy from her body, as well as Cloak, who's able to teleport. Now, this is individually. When they're together, their powers enhanced tenfold. Now, I will say before I go any further, Olivia Holt and Aubrey Joseph do what this show needs to be done, and they put it in a great spot. There was a lot of concern of how this would translate on Freeform. Would it be just a normal teen drama? Would it still be superhero-esque? Would it fall in line as the other Marvel television series? Because as we know, you have Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, The Punisher, and Runaways. And minus maybe Iron Fist, all of these shows have come out the gate swinging. They've been phenomenal shows. They, to an extent, follow some of their comic book origins. Some may deviate a little bit, but nonetheless, they give you what you are asking for, and it brings it to a grounded, realistic sense. It is set in New Orleans. Now, this is a beautiful backdrop because you can have the whole story of voodoo and magic and witchcraft and things like that, but that's already played into many elements within Marvel. You know, we have Scarlet Witch. Now, granted, her powers came from the Tesseract or whatnot, but you use elements of magic. Now, I'm not saying that this is their abilities, because there is another way in which they get the abilities, and I will not spoil that for you. I'll let you find it out. Now, we do know, we've seen in the clips, that the clip of Tandy and Tyrone, as we assume, first meeting, and then she picks his pocket and he chases her, and when they touch hands, their powers activate. Well, we know what that happens. We've seen the clips of Tandy using her abilities. We've seen the clips of Tyrone using his ability. But what you don't get is the way they built this story up. Now, we've heard the backstory, how Tyrone is of the privileged kid, and Tandy is from the wrong side of the tracks. And the dynamic of how that is played as to how they become who they are, not just as heroes, but as individuals, is amazing. To have this as the teen element, that was something a lot of people may have been concerned about, because they were not really sure if the teen element of Cloak and Dagger, who in the comics are a grown man and woman, would exactly work out. Well, it's a thing about that, and I was thinking about this and talking to the resident superhero, Bobby Hill, about that. One of the things in this show, from the beginning, we don't know is the exact time or date. We don't know basically where it falls in the MCU timeline. Now, I know some of you all are saying, well, Jay, the MCU films are different than MCU television. And that has been said so, but there are a lot of things that happen in both the film, well, more so the TV shows that connect you to the films, not the films connected to the TV shows, if that makes sense. Whereas the incident is always referenced in the Marvel show, in the Netflix shows, where the incident being the first Avengers, and even Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Pardon me, you talk about the Avengers so much in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So, to say that these things aren't currently happening, we don't know when exactly happens. Now, I will say this, in the beginning we show the child versions of both Tandy and Tyrone, their upbringings and whatnot. And then it gets to the point where we see the teenage versions, and all we get is years later. We don't have a number. So you can assume it's between 10 and 12 years, but the date, the year, we don't know where that falls in the time frame. Like with the Guardians of the Galaxy, you know, it starts out 1984, then goes 30 years later, and so on and so forth. We don't know exactly where this falls. So we don't know if this is before the Avengers get together. We don't know if this during, after. We don't know how this will play out until you get further along in the season. I will say this again. The teenage millennial aspect, what they brought to this already, is dynamic. It is captivating. It doesn't make you feel like, oh my God, I'm watching a teen drama show. It is actually a series for those who are diehard comic book lovers like myself, and those who may be the casual fan who may just want to watch this. It will encapsulate you. It will keep you in. The story is gripping because it's not just a bland element of, oh, they've got powers, they got to figure it out, this, then the third. That is not the case with this. The casting which we're introduced to with Tandy's mother, with Tyrone's mother and father, and we find out their family dynamics. This helps build the story arc as we go further. I would love to go full in detail spoilers with you guys about this, but I don't want to spoil it for you. I just want the anticipation to be enough where you check this out yourself when this comes to TV, okay? I want to make sure you guys go and check it out on June 7th on Freeform. This is going to be worth it. Set your DVRs, set your Rokus, go to your on-demands. Make sure you watch this. You are going to enjoy this. It is 10 episodes. Now, we've talked about that with a lot of the TV shows, how some of them, the Netflix ones in particular, are 13 episodes. And we're like, you could scale back because that leaves too much room for filler. Well, 10 episodes, and you're trying to make a point and a statement on a network you were, kind of had people shaky about. I don't think there's no time for filler with this series. I don't think there's any real gaps that are unnecessary. Everything that's leading up to something has a major point, not filler. Like, again, I tell you this, from the moment this show starts, within the first 10 minutes, it gets real. It hits real life issues that we have talked about and seen numerous times, and it just goes further and further. There are things that happen, you're like, whoa, they did this on Freeform. I need you all to remember that, because what they do on Freeform, you would have expected them to do on Netflix with full range. But you are going to love this. I guarantee it. Let me know, are you excited for Cloak and Dagger like myself and Bobby Hill, who's out on assignment, are for this series? Like, subscribe, click on that notification bell. Make sure you check out the Trusty Sidekick podcast. We are on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, Player FM, anywhere you get your podcast links, except for SoundCloud. We haven't worked on that one yet. But you can go ahead and get us and keep us in your ears. Episode 82 is up now. We also have a special episode that you can check out with Geek Show's own Jay Whitaker. We've got a bunch of other stuff coming up for you. Make sure you follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Mr. J Washington. That's MrJaywashington. Follow the Trusty Sidekick podcast at Sidekick Trusty. Follow us on Instagram at Trusty Sidekick Pod, and email us with your questions, comments, thoughts, trustysidekickpod@gmail.com. I will holler at you guys later. I hope you can't wait for Cloak and Dagger like I've enjoyed it. I will talk to you later. Take care. Peace.